Good day, good day, good day, good afternoon, good night, good morning, wherever you're watching from. I know that you're watching from all over the world. You're listening on the Upper Podcast, and this is Canute's Exploration, your topic in a podcast. Yes, we inspire, we empower, we try to get persons to understand that whatever adversities that they are going through, they are not alone. I know adversities are not for us, but for others, so that we can continue to uplift others, to inspire others, to empower others. And this is what I do. This is what we do. And on Canute Exploration. And indeed, we have a guest today who will do that. Just inspire you. Daniel Packard, I'm going to let him into the studio and we'll have a discussion as to it relates to depression, anxiety, or you can overcome. He will give you his sort of an adage as it relates to depression and also his experience. And this is a man who travel all over, wonder what depression looks like in other region of the world. All right, let's start. Daniel, I am happy that you're with us on Canute Exploration, your topic in the podcast. I am Dr. Canute White. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing very well, my friend. Thank you for having me. Hello to all your listeners from all over the world. And I know that your listeners are, people who just want to be healthier and happier for themselves, their communities, their families, and just show up. And they are courageous enough to look within and do the deep work. So it feels good to share what I'm going to share. And I like to be really clear up front what I'm going to share, because it is so different and so valuable. And more importantly, I want to tell your audience why they should listen, because their time is valuable. There's a lot of podcasts. And what we're doing that my company is doing, and I'll tell you my story in a bit, but we figured out an understanding of anxiety, of fear and anxiety, so that you can solve it quickly in a way that's simple and permanently. So we're not here to overcome anxiety. We're not here to inspire you about anxiety. Tips and tools. What we found is how to be free of it quickly in a way that's simple. Now, I know you don't believe me. Over the course of the next little while, when you hear my story, how we came up with this approach, it'll make a lot more sense. So if you have fear and anxiety and you're just managing it and you just want to be free of it so you can be confident and joyful and present and happy, if that sounds good to you, that's what we're about to do right now.
Okay, I got you. But Daniel, before you go on, I'd like to find out a little about your childhood. It's important for me. What was it like growing up?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that you asked. And the reason it's good to know about my childhood is because when we tell people that we're solving anxiety, they don't believe us. And when people hear my story, they go, oh, that makes a lot more sense. So what I'm passionate about is results, like real measurable, permanent results for people. That's what we care about. And the reason I care about results is because of my childhood. When growing up, my dad was a scientist and he was an inventor. And I would see him invent things. And I thought this was just a magical power, that something doesn't exist and you can just make something. And he told me, he said something very powerful to me. He said, if something's not working, you can make something better, make the world better. And he also said something that stuck with me, which was, what I like about science is that you know who to trust, because it's the person that gets results. Anyone can have a theory or an idea. Yeah. Theories and ideas don't move the world forward. It's results. Results matter. Yeah. And I like that idea of you got to get results. That's what people need. Yeah. And so I went to engineering school to become an inventor. And I wanted to make things that work to make the world a better place. And in an engineering school at UC Berkeley, they train you how to look at problems and break it down into pieces and then build a prototype and then test it and get results and optimize it until you develop something that works. Right. And I built this incredible ability to problem solve and create things that get results. Now, the good news was, Canute, was that they showed me how to make robots work and bridges work and bicycles work, but they did not teach me how to make life work, and they didn't show me how to make relationships work. I guess I missed that class, or maybe it was like hidden in quantum theory. I don't know what happened, but I came out of engineering school and I fell in love and I believed Disney and I thought we'd live happily ever after. Spoiler alert, we did not. The relationship turned really unhealthy, and at times I was being emotionally abused, but I was too insecure and codependent to leave. And so I stayed. I know your audience would never make this mistake. I stayed in a relationship too long. And when the relationship was over, about 2 weeks after it was done, the smallest thing would happen. Someone would interrupt me or an email would come in and my whole system was filled with terror and panic.
Right.
And I didn't know what was going on. And I find out from the relationship, I came out of it with severe anxiety and complex PTSD. And like your audience that struggles with things like this, I went looking for help. And I spent $100,000 and 10 years therapy, psychology, spirituality, religion, retreats. I tried all the different techniques, EMDR, EFT, CGT, MOUSE. I went to all the people with all the degrees and the letters after their name.
Yeah.
And all they ever gave me was tips and tools to manage the terror, but it never went away. And then my friends and family all walked away from me because they didn't want to be around somebody in pain, and they just left me feeling even more broken and alone.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have taken my own life, but I really got why people do, because I was just so unhappy, and because the experts couldn't solve it, I felt trapped. I felt hopeless. And I sort of looked up to the spirit, to the big wisdom, the universe, and I just said, hey, what do you want from me? I've been working on this for 10 years. What's the lesson I'm supposed to learn?
Yeah.
And I heard like what my dad said, that if something's not working, invent something better.
Yeah.
And I thought, I thought that was like invent machines or bicycles.
Yeah.
And I thought the personal development, spirituality, psychology industry, it's well-intentioned people, but they usually don't solve anything. It doesn't work that well.
Right.
And I said, oh my God, I just saw it. How much money gets spent every year? $1 trillion a year gets spent on mental health and personal development, but people are still in a lot of pain and it's not solving anything. And then I remember what my dad also said, results matter. Get something that gets results.
Yeah.
And so I started my own research company with the mission to see, I don't know, could we, instead of approaching it psychologically or spiritually, because that wasn't getting the job done, I said, could we approach this mechanically, because we're problem solvers? So I started my own research company with the mission, could we approach this mechanically and reverse engineer a real permanent solution for people? One, just to save my life, but to save other people's lives. And something that gets real results, permanent results. And so it was way harder than we thought. It took years and over $1 million in research and development. And I was one of the first test cases using our process. And I remember waking up one morning and I was just calm. And things that used to scare me didn't. Now, I thought it was temporary. I thought it would just come back, but it never did. And my team, we realized we figured it out, but we didn't fully figure it out because it wasn't enough to have it with me. We wanted to make this scalable to help millions. So we figured out why it worked. And then we built an online program so that anybody can access it from around the world. And then we tested the online program to make sure it'll work for anybody. So we have a 90% success rate, meaning no matter how long you've had fear and anxiety, no matter where you're from, what culture, 90% success rate. And because my dad told me results matter, when people work with us, we do not charge you at the beginning. We only charge you at the end when you have your anxiety and fear gone and you have your life back. And we're measuring things. We collect data. As you're working with us, you're reporting your anxiety and fear levels every day. So we have data from you to track the results. Results matter. And the final thing I want to say on results is, no matter what I tell your audience right now, they're not going to fully believe me. But what I'm going to try to do is open up hope that maybe there is a solution and it's simple, but they're not going to believe me. However, at the end of our conversation, I'm going to send your audience to my website to download a free training, and they can try one of our techniques for free so that they can feel in themselves and get a real result that they could live anxiety free and that it could be simple. So I'm not here to convince anybody. Don't trust me, but listen to me, maybe make you curious, and then go see for yourself. Get a result for yourself.
And that website, for those who are listening on Upper Podcast, is anxietysolutionprogram.com.
No. I think that link was from somewhere else, but
right.
I like to keep things simple. So my name's Daniel Packard. What do you think my website is?
DanielPackard.com.
Gold stars to you, Dr. White. DanielPackard.com. If you at the end you go there and you get a free training and try this for yourself, so you can have an experience of hope.
For those who are listening, can you spell that Daniel Packard for them?
Of course. Daniel, Daniel, and then Packard, like Hewlett Packard, Packard.com. So Daniel, P as in Peter, Ackard.com.
Right. So those who are listening on Upper Podcast, this is Canute's Exploration, your topic in the podcast, talking to Daniel Packard, talking about anxiety, how to solve anxiety. But Daniel, I like you how you talked about family members believing that, hey, we love you, Daniel, but guess what happened? We're having a challenge as well, trying to work with you. So maybe you have alluded to it. What are some of the biggest challenges in helping people with anxiety?
Well, we thought the biggest challenge was to solve it in a way that's simple, because no one's done that yet. They don't even have a solution. Therapists and psychologists and spiritual teachers give you insights and tips to manage it, but not solve it, and certainly not solve it quickly and make it simple. So we realized to help a lot of people, we got to make it fast, measurable, and simple. And that was not easy. And I thought once we came up with this, and we told people we only charge at the end, you only pay when it works. And we thought we would help, this would spread, and it's all online. We thought we were going to help so many people. And we helped some people, but not nearly as many as we could. And the biggest challenge has been the skepticism and the doubt, because the experts have confused people. The experts say anxiety is this, anxiety is that, anxiety is this, anxiety is that. There's like 10, 20 different theories on anxiety. Also, you try to do what the experts say and then you fail. So it feels complicated. People start to lose hope. And so because the experts are failing everyone, it's leaving people in this confused, hopeless state. Then also there's a lot of people out there taking advantage of anxious people, over-promising, under-delivering. So and then we come along saying we're solving it in 6 weeks. People can't believe it. And so that's the issue, is the skepticism. And so the reason I come on these shows is to explain to them the discoveries we made and how we solved it, because then you'll understand, it'll make sense. But the biggest obstacle is that it's the skepticism and doubt. That's why we have people do the technique at the end, because that gives them an experience that they can trust. No one's going to trust me. They have to have an experience that this can work for them.
People are going to say, Daniel, well, we have not discussed your competence in this, right, besides your experience. But people are going to say, Daniel, you're not a psychologist. Your people in your organization, I'm just assuming, are not psychologists. How can you help us solve anxiety?
Well, on the one hand, it's a good question. But if you really stop and look at the psychological industry, like let's just look at it, okay? You've got some well-intentioned people, but let's look at things, okay? These are people that go to school, and they learn some techniques and some tools and some insights into what mental health and anxiety is. Then they set up a business, and then they share these tips and tools that just manage anxiety, and they make some money.
Yeah.
they're fine with that. And tips and tools to manage things, it's okay, but it's not a solution. They're not trying to solve it. And it's a good business model to always be managing it because you come back every week going and going and going, but also they're okay not solving it. So we were outsiders, and I'm an engineer. Results matter to me. I was in pain. I know the pain of just managing it all the time. It's not a way to live. And so we solved it because we wanted to passionately solve it, but also solving it was not easy. The reason we could solve it, I'm a trained problem solver. Engineers are problem solvers. We're good at it. Even if therapists and psychologists wanted to have solved it, it's tricky. But I was trained at one of the best schools in the world how to look at things, break them down, and how to test things. But also the reason we solved it is because we weren't psychologists and therapists, because they've learned old material that's been around for like 100 years. It's like modern psychology has been around kind of since Freud, and it's 100 years old.
Yeah.
But Freud, one of the originators of Western psychology, was a chain-smoking cocaine addict.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that. I'm in psychology, Danny.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you can analyze, you can have all these great theories, write all these books, and still have the thing. It's just not good results.
Yeah.
So we were not attached to the old. The thing with experts is they like what they like and they have value in sharing it. But if you're an expert on the outside looking in, you can see things with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
So when we set off to solve it, one of the reasons I was inspired to solve it is because of the story of Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale, if you don't know, was this nurse in the 1850s. And during the Crimean War, she was a British nurse, and she saw more soldiers were dying in recovery than in combat. Now, the doctors and the generals, they were fine with it. They thought this is part of war. But she was just a nurse, and she cared, and she said, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And she went to the generals and the doctors and said, we need to do something. And they said, don't worry about it. Like, this is just war. Don't even bother. But she was like an outsider. She wasn't an expert. And she paid attention. And she discovered something very simple that was right under everybody's noses, which is that you basically have to create hygienic conditions in the recovery room. And she saw that. She applied it. She tested it. And the death rate dropped by 99%. Why? Because she wanted to solve it, and she saw something very simple that all the experts missed because the experts weren't looking for it because the experts were so busy being experts.
Yeah.
So psychologists have not solved it. So you don't want that group. You want the one group that is on the outside and starting from scratch. So it's good I don't have letters of my own name because the people with letters after their own name aren't solving it. You want someone with a new, fresh approach. We are not regurgitating, we are innovating, and that's why they should trust me. Also, no matter where I went to school, all that matters is results, okay? We get results, we measure results, and we back up our results.
Yeah.
So who do you trust more to get you results? Somebody that has the right education and the degree, but doesn't back up their results, or the person says, we will help you or you don't pay a penny? Yeah. Who do you trust?
Yeah, and I agree with you, because even though I'm in psychology, as I just confessed to you, I basically believe that psychology is a welcome discipline. And indeed, psychologists and psychology cannot. I've lectured in psychology. I've been a professor in psychology. But I realize how important it is to have people like you, engineer and so on, get involved with psychology in order to complete the whole system of resolving anxiety and other mental challenges. So that is welcoming, and it's interesting how you can blend engineering in order to get this done, Daniel. But look, I'd like to look at children struggling with anxiety these days, and how parents can help them, basically learn to how parents can learn to help them solve this. What from your perspective, from your engineering perspective, and the company, from your company perspective, how can this be done?
Well, it's a great question, and we help a lot of people and parents because, of course, because there's not a solution and things are getting worse, we see our young people struggling so much. And it's heartbreaking. I don't have children, but our clients have children, and they say, not only do I have anxiety, now my kid has anxiety. I know I'm giving it to them, and I don't know how to stop it. Like, what a torture that is. And so people come to us because they know we're getting results, and they're like, can you help? So there's two ways that we help people. One is we say, look, we have a simple program that works. I have lectured this material in front of 300 middle schools, high schools, and universities. So this material, it's not complicated. It's completely digestible by a young person. So we do just help young people. But the other way, this happened 4 months ago. Most specifically, this woman's name was Ashley. She was a mother from Oregon. And she reached out to me and she said, okay, not only do I have anxiety, but I can see that I'm sharing, my daughter has it too. And I'm like passing it on to her because I'm modeling the wrong behavior, but I don't know what, and I don't know how to turn this around. And I said, I get it. And what I explained to her is the way that we are solving anxiety is we saw that anxiety is a symptom of a poor type of health. And I'll explain to that what that means later. But basically, we're bringing your system back to health. And when you bring your system back to health, the symptom, the pain, goes away. So she said, and what I showed her is that we were not shown how to create real emotional health and habits. We're taught how to brush and floss. We're taught to get enough sleep. We're taught to eat the food pyramid. We're taught how to have don't have too. There's a lot of education on lots of types of health of a pet, health of a garden, health of a goldfish. We are not taught proper daily hygiene of our emotions and feelings. Nobody is. So we have poor emotional health, and that because we can't do the basics, the brushing and flossing of our emotions, and then we have this painful symptom. So it's like if you don't know how to make healthy food, you can't make healthy food for your children. So what I told her is, our program shows you step by step how to bring daily emotional health to your system. And when you are healthy, you heal and the pain goes away. But also you now know exactly what you need to do and how you need to behave to show your child how to be healthy from within. Yeah. And she said, if you could do that, that would be the most incredible gift ever. I said, that's what we do. Yeah. So she went through the program, and about week 5, she reached out to my team and she said, please tell Daniel, thank you. And what she said is, not only is my fear and anxiety basically gone, but she said, I was talking to my teenage daughter, the other day. And I said, how was school? And she said, well, funny enough, I got bullied at school. And she said, but it didn't affect me. I just wasn't afraid or anxious. And she said, she asked her child, like, why? She said, well, I saw what you're doing in this program, and I basically just did what you did. And so it didn't affect me. And she said, thank you. Like this is probably a bigger gift, is now I'm going to have a calm, healthy child so that they can handle the challenges of life. Yeah. So I'm telling you, what we've discovered is incredible. It's around health, a type of health nobody knows about. And when you learn it, not only will you be healthier and happier, but you'll know exactly how to raise a calm, resilient, confident child.
Hey, Daniel, look, audience, I'd like to ask you if you like what Daniel is saying, and I'm sure you do. You know, it's a very important message that he's delivering. Drop a comment now. If you have questions, let me see it in the comment. And, if I need to, I will talk to Daniel again, because we just have about 6 or so minutes to go on this program. And I'd like to also ask you to subscribe, share this information with your friends, so that Daniel's message can not only be for you and your family, but for persons outside of your household, because this is a very important message. Daniel, I have a final question for you, right?
Well, wait, can I share something very important that'll help your audience understand something that nobody knows?
Go ahead, Daniel.
So people ask me all the time, Daniel, how did you why did you solve it? And I said, well, we saw something that the experts missed. That's very simple. This is not complicated. We see magic tricks all the time. And when we see a magic trick, we think, oh my God, that's incredible. But we all know behind every magic trick is something just really simple. You just didn't know what it was. When I was a kid, David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. And everyone thought, oh my God, that's incredible. And then you find out how he did it. And it's like, oh, that was so simple. So what we've discovered, it's not magical, it's simple. Here are the two key things that we discovered. The first thing is, we're told that anxiety is a problem of the mind. You know, they tell you to quiet the negative thoughts, stop the scarcity thinking, don't keep worrying about the future. They give you pills to target the neurotransmitters in your brain. It's called mental health. It's got the word mental right in there.
Right.
But we asked ourselves, is this theory that anxiety is a problem of the mind, is that solving it? And the answer is no, anxiety is on the rise. So we said, is it in the mind? And once we asked this simple question, we started to pay attention and we listened to people. Do people say, I'm asking you, Dr. White, do people say, I think anxious or I feel anxious?
I
feel anxious. Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we feel anxious, where do we feel it? Well, our throat can close up, our chest can tighten, our heart rate can go up, our stomach can get that queasy feeling. Mm-hmm. So the experts tell us it's a problem of the mind. Yes, but listen to those words: throat, heart, chest, stomach. Is that the mind or the body?
Yeah, I know, right? Because you notice I said to you, we think, but you said, oh, we feel. Because of me being an expert.
Yeah, and you're laughing because this is so simple.
Yeah,
so the reason people didn't solve anxiety is we were sent to the wrong location, the mind. The mind is a symptom.
Okay.
A symptom. When you feel fear, your mind will start to spin. And we know this because when you feel calmer, usually your mind notices more good things. And when you feel more fear, you notice more negative things because the mind follows the body, not the other way around. So the mind is part of it, but it's not the root cause. So if you're listening to this and you couldn't solve anxiety, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. The experts accidentally sent you to the wrong location. The other thing is, once you go to the body, things become much simpler. The mind, we don't understand the mind. It's 180 billion neurons, I think 100 trillion synaptic pathways. And psychology is very theoretical. It's ideas and theories to try to understand things. Now, that's interesting and valuable, but what it's not precise and it's not mechanical. But the body is mechanical. The skeleton, the arteries, your heart, your ligaments, your teeth, your hair, it's all mechanical systems. And the beauty of systems is they have mechanics and mechanisms. And if you understand the engineering of a system, you know why they fail and you know how to fix it. When somebody's choking, nobody says, oh my God, this is because you have a negative mindset. Nobody says this is because your third chakra is blocked. They're like, no, mechanically, there's some cheeseburger in your airway. So if we apply mechanical pressure to your stomach, it pops out the cheeseburger. It's mechanical.
Right. Yeah,
so here's the thing. We said, what's the system that is controlling all of these feelings? And we said, well, let's take away the word anxiety and panic and overwhelm. And we said, look, people just feel really nervous, just kind of nervous. And we said, well, what system is making everybody extra nervous? So what do you think, Dr. Canute? And to your listeners, which system do you think makes everybody extra nervous? The capillary system, the endocrine system, or the nervous system?
Well, I don't want to think the nervous system, perhaps because we're saying nervous system.
Yes, it's the nervous system.
Yeah.
So think about this. You've got millions and millions of people extra nervous. There's a system in the body called the nervous system. And when everybody's extra nervous, the experts said it's a brain disorder. It's not. And this is not theory. When we discovered it was the nervous system, I'm an engineer. We figured out the mechanics of the nervous system, why it fails, and how to repair it quickly. And when that is, I used to live in my house in the fetal position in terror. And now I've been chill as a cucumber for 10 years straight. This isn't theory. No. It's real. And your audience already knows that systems in the body can fail and they can be repaired. If you need a root canal, your teeth have failed. But you don't have to live like that forever. You go to an expert who knows how to repair teeth. And dental pain can go away quickly. And I'm saying the same is with your nervous system.
Yeah.
Your nervous system has crashed. It's like you have an internal root canal. It's infected. And we figured out and we train you how to repair it without therapy or drugs and bring it back to health. And then the pain goes away and you're free of it. That's the beauty of this. It's gone, man. It's gone. You get to be look how excited I am. This is not cocaine. This is authentic joy from a person who couldn't leave the house because of terror.
Yeah.
So again, don't fully believe me, but if you can see the wisdom that some experts who didn't want to solve it sent you to the mind, maybe that's why you haven't figured it out. And maybe if a group of experts who wanted to solve it send you to the right location, which is a system, and we know systems can fail and be repaired. If you go, this guy's making sense. I don't fully believe him, but he's making sense. If you think I'm making sense, then I invite you to download the free training, learn the technique, apply it to yourself so that you can realize this isn't just theory, this is real, and you can feel so much calmer, and it'll give you hope that you don't have to live like this anymore.
All right, so it's www.danielpackard.com, right?
Yes, and because I like to make things simple, and we just want to help people, this training is based on a retreat that we used to do, and it was $2,500 for the full retreat. We took a retreat's worth of information, condensed it down to 45 minutes. And because I like to make things simple, Dr. White, what do you think I'm going to charge for this 45-minute training? What do you think I'm charging?
Well, tell us.
It's free.
Okay.
Because we want to help people. We know you're skeptical. We know you're hopeless. I know you don't trust me. So it's free. There's no risk. Please, I invite you. Again, don't believe me. Just give it a try. We've tried to make it simple. It's completely free. Try it out and see for yourself what's possible so that you can live the life that you want to live for yourself, for your community, for your faith, and to fulfill your destiny. When you have fear and anxiety, you are not being the full you, and the world needs the full you. And that's what we're giving people. It's not about anxiety. It's about empowering people with a product that lowers the fear and anxiety so it's gone, so they can fulfill their potential on this planet.
All right. Daniel Packard in a nice avenue here on Canute Exploration, your topic in a podcast. Arlen, you will find the link to Daniel Packard's website on this in the description of this episode, that you can just click on and engage Daniel and get in touch now and find out how you can be a better you through solving anxiety, because many of us would have gone through anxiety sometimes in our life, no matter how mild, severe, or or whatever it may be. All right, Daniel, thanks for coming on Canute Exploration, your topic in the podcast. Nice having you. Thank you. Goodbye.